Hey folks, we're back. I'm your host BKP, and it is time. It is time for Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley. We want to thank North Georgia Cancer Research here, affiliated with Northside Hospital. We really appreciate them for the segment. And we're at Blue Ridge, downtown. Beautiful morning, Dr. Whaley. Now, a couple things I want to do before we get into anything. We have a studio audience.
Yeah, we do.
All right, we have a studio audience. We have, how about this? The doctor's in the house, right?
Right.
The producer, the directors, they're in the house.
And their studio audience.
And the one and only Stevie Richards is in the house. Now, for you out there, wrestling fans, you know Stevie Richards is in the house. And we brought the plumber. I mean, you never know.
No.
Ben Kissel's in the house. He's right.
Yeah, he can go over. He can go.
Yeah,
over
we
here
got
and
everybody.
unstuck the drain,
We got
right?
everybody.
All right.
We can do everything. Now, thank you for your service. The Vietnam traveling wall is in Blue Ridge today. I didn't want to do that in the opening. I wanted to save that for our time.
Right.
And I knew we were going to talk about that. There's a ceremony today. It came in being led by a long caravan of motorcycles.
I think 100 and something motorcycles.
Right, and then it is set up. The Vietnam traveling wall, we'll explain, is set up. It is a replica. Now, I have had the opportunity.
It's 3/5.
3/5, right, the
3/5.
size. But it is every name is on there.
That's correct.
Now, I've had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. and see all the memorials for the great men and women that gave all in that area. So, but this is an awesome thing. I have seen this wall in a couple other places, but it is here now behind on 515, behind CVS, behind Town and Country Furniture, where they built the new United Methodist Church, the property there behind the Chamber of Commerce. It is set up. Had a nice little ceremony
Why don't
coming
you
in.
say it's right next to the post office?
No, post. There you go. Everybody, if you don't know where that's at, right next to the post
Yeah,
office.
say it's next to Joe's oil change.
And
everybody knows where the post office is.
And I promise
All right,
I'm going to give this to you. All right, I'm going to give this to you because what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you right now. What I need to do is, all right, I watched when it was set up. I watched grandparents go touch the wall, right? Find the name, and I did. I went down one day when it was set up here locally. It was in LJ about 5-6 years ago, and I went down and I just sat there and watched people, and I watched people walk up and touch the wall, and I didn't know. And I would go up to them. I say, "Can I ask you a question?" That was my son. This, my nephew. That was my dad. And they would just go up and just touch the wall and stand next to it. And I'm telling you, just chills. Just absolute chills. Now I'll turn it over to you because I know it means a lot to you.
Well, one of your expert panel has a brother on there. You know that, right?
What?
One of your expert panel has a brother on there.
No, I don't know that. Who? Or do I wait? Just wait and let him tell me?
Well, I mean, he's a Silver Star Winter Marine, died there. And that's Bruce Conti.
Oh, okay.
All right. So it's close to home here.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. So, I went back. I couldn't go to the wall for 15 or more years. When I finally went, Jane went with me. It was a very emotional experience. I will go to the wall when there's not many people there while it's here. As I told people the other night at the charity thing when I was mentioning it was coming to town, I says, you'll find probably most of the veterans will be there right before dawn or right after sunset. And then because most people will be there in the daytime. And the veteran wants to go there, be by himself, and sit there, be by himself. Either they go there, it's lit and guarded 24 hours a day. So you could go in the middle of the night if you want. But my experience is that most of the people that were there and have friends that are on that wall don't go in the daytime. They go when they can be private.
It is open 24 hours.
Yeah, and one of the things is they don't want people going out there and throwing frisbees and playing playing grab ass out there. They want them going out there and being respectful.
Well, we got to jump right into the questions. I know we're putting a lot of time, but
well,
I have all the time in the world because of the importance of this. we take for granted sometimes when we have opportunities to travel.
Right.
You're a world traveler. I've not been able to travel the world, but I've been able to travel to D.C. and see many things. And when you go to the wall, what you will see is you'll see a lot of people that are not able to take those trips, that are not, they're not able to, whether it's financial means, physically, in wheelchairs, handicap, and this provides them a way to actually get to see that.
It's just like being in Normandy.
And they come for exactly. You don't get to go to Normandy, but I will tell you, there's our train whistle in the morning. But what it also does is you will see people come for hundreds of miles.
Well, they come from around the world.
Yeah, to see the wall.
Yeah.
All right. So, anything else you want to?
Well,
say
I just
on
wanted
that?
to say, you were talking about it's a cool day today. It's 61 degrees. Yesterday we were officially.
Weatherman, Dr. I had to make it official.
It's your best
Our
official,
weatherman, Dr.
So I've always tell you we're 6 inches down in rain this year, and yesterday we were officially declared to be in a drought. Now you know droughts usually are slow in onset. So how did they describe the drought? You've heard of the flash mob?
Right.
It's a flash drought brought on by the 15 days of greater than 90-degree heat that broke the. You know, we broke the world record 15 days in September for heat in Georgia. And we broke it yesterday, and I think the day before yesterday. So we've had about 18 days in the last 30-something days where we've set new records in heat.
Yes.
That's that global warming shit to know it ain't supposed to happen. All right, we got great questions.
So wait, we're down 6 inches.
6 inches, yeah.
Okay.
But remember, year before last, we were up 18. Last year, we were right on the number. So if you take 3 or 4 years, we're still fine. There's a lot of water in the ground. Don't worry about it. The well will be fine.
We got to get to questions.
All right, we got some really good questions here, and this is an interesting.
There's two things.
Yeah.
I don't have glasses. I hope they're home.
Yeah.
And two, I forgot my jacket. I want to apologize. My sport coat. I don't know where that's.
I can run in there and get you one of my hockey things.
I might have to do that.
We'll do that during the thing here. This is interesting here. The first question. Generally, you know, we say they don't give you enough specific information, so this person turned around and put it on us. Several months ago, you answered a question about my mother and her treatment for stage 4 ovary cancer. She is finishing chemo now, and the numbers are all perfect. And yesterday, they started talking about some sort of ongoing maintenance therapy. What is that all about if the cancer is all gone?
Okay, I mean, I'm interested in it personally.
Well, from the discussion we were having earlier.
Yes.
All right, slap up that first. Chris, the new producer, that first one up there. This one here. You saw that one at the last. We're talking about ovarian cancer. Pop up the one that's the pictures there as the next, because this is the incidence of cancer, men and women, then the deaths in cancer, men and women, and that thing right there is supposed to confuse you, right?
Yeah.
But ovary cancer is a big deal. The cancers that run in families for females are breast, ovary, and colon. So women are focused on these 3 cancers. And if you get to the next one, the silhouettes, show the silhouettes. This you need to spend a little time looking at here. The number of patients who get breast cancer that die are only 31%.
All right.
The number of patients who get cervix cancer that ultimately die are 50%.
Okay.
The ones that get ovarian cancer are 64%. So 2/3 of women who get ovarian cancer are going to die of the disease. So the idea of doing something that will maintain a remission for a longer period of time before they relapse and die is exceedingly important. Now pull those off there for a minute and let's have a blank screen. So the idea, and I've talked about this many times before, is somebody with stage 4 disease, when they say, well, why are you going to treat them if the cancer can't be cured? It's because with many cancers, we can get them into a remission. We're going to talk about that in a minute here with this ovarian cancer. And then by doing things that are relatively non-toxic, keep them in a remission for a long period of time. I've got patients with stage 4 ovarian cancer who were blown out to here and looked like they were 9 months pregnant, who are working full time, and that cancer is not gone, is in remission. It's not that everybody believes they're cured, but they've been normal for 4 or 5 years. All right. So let's go to the next one and put that up for a minute, because this really is important. The maintenance therapy. The goal of maintenance therapy is to extend PFS, that's progression-free survival. And then this gives you down here some stuff that'll confuse everybody, but there's various ways about, once you've got somebody in a remission, of trying to extend that remission. One, that's what we did with this woman's, this question we had here a few weeks ago, was that they were being aggressive about the treatment. I think she'd had a surgical procedure to get a lot of the disease out after some of the treatment. Then I said they'll give her more treatment, and if they can get the numbers to go down, then she has a good chance of a long-term survival. So what has happened now is, every time they have made a additional change, it's been because she's doing well and they're trying to prolong her survival. So pull that one down and put up that one with the 2 little circles there. Here's what, if you have a patient that you get into a remission and you do nothing, generally the relapse is going to happen in 4 to 6 months. But if you give maintenance therapy, 21% median means that's the middle.
Right.
They got some that were 6 months, they got some that were 7 or 8 years. So you have really extended the worthwhile functional time without having to go back on additional treatment. Now, I want you to show this next one that says landmark, because everybody knows I'm old, right? If you look at this long graph of can you see that time graph on there? It shows pretty well. If you look at the left-hand number, it says cisplatin 1978. Well, I'd been in practice 6 years then, and a lot of the experimental therapy on cisplatin we did. Well, that's a base drug now for almost everything. And if you look, then bang, 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 things happen so rapidly. Rapid. So when you get up here to 2014, you see where it says bevacizumab. You like that one?
Yeah, I like that one. I'm just glad you didn't.
You see that one there on the top? Right. Pull that thing down. All right. We're going to go to the. Can I pull a switcheroo on you? Give me the eyeball next. All right. So we're going to the eyeball next. We've talked.
A switcheroo.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've talked about this before. There are gray-headed people here, and
somehow I get in every week.
Yeah, and in the gray-headed people, we all know people in the nursing home or our grandparents or the elderly parents who have what is called macular blood vessel development, and they are going to the doctor and getting an injection into the eye as often as once a month to prevent that macular blood vessel leaking blood vessels from making them go blind. That thing that's injected into the eye is bevacizumab. And that is one of those drugs I told you before that stops new blood vessels from growing in to feed cancer. Now, if this drug is safe enough to inject into the eyeball of 70 and 80-year-old people in a nursing home, then we give it IV to ovarian cancer patients after we've got them into remission, and it keeps them into remission. It must be a daggum safe drug, right?
Right.
All right, now I'll go to the summary thing. Okay, so now we're on the summary. The patients, I was talking to this lady when this thing came up about a patient in the same state, same situation, who we were starting at that time on bevacizumab.
Right.
The drug is called Avastin. Well, there's one other drug. You remember we talked about genetic drivers? You remember about the BRCA gene, and you get the BRCA gene, you have to have your breast taken off or your ovaries taken off. If your cancer had the BRCA gene, then this drug that has come out that you can use for breast cancer, these are called PARP inhibitors. There's 3 of them. Safe drug. It's a pill. Can be given for maintenance therapy, and it can now be, as of about 8 weeks ago, which is why I think they began talking about this, is she must have that genetic change, because you can use both of those drugs together, and we have no data about how long that's going to last. But since we know that it can last a couple of years just with bevacizumab or Avastin, adding this drug may mean that this patient who has stage 4 disease is dying and is agonizing pain. 6 months later, they're in a remission. The numbers are all good. It might be 5 years or more before it relapses again. So, to answer your question, maintenance therapy makes great sense. It is used most commonly in colon cancer, some lymphomas, and ovarian cancer, and it's just taken off in ovarian cancer. So tell mama to go talk to them and be encouraged.
Okay, thank you very much for that first question. Now, if you have a question for the doc, don't forget, send it to info, I-N-F-O, at fetchyournews.com. Put in the subject line, ask the doc, and we'll get it to Dr. Whaley. Also, don't forget, go to our YouTube channel, FYN TV Fetch Your News. Go to the playlist. You will see Ask the Doc, and many of the questions that you may have, we've answered throughout the years, and you can share this information from that playlist with your friends. So, we want to thank North Georgia Cancer Research Center here, affiliated with Northside Hospital, for the segment. Dr. Whaley, what is our second question this morning?
All right. Put up that next one there. Okay, expert panel. Expert panel needs to listen to this. This next question.
This is a panel pay attention question.
Write
that down. That was pretty good.
All right. I have avoided red meat for 30 years for health reasons, and I am confused about the news that red meat does not cause colon cancer. What should I think?
I would think you just wasted 30 years.
Right. Put up, you got that
It's
first
just
one?
me. Obviously, it wasn't my question. I have not avoided red meat for 30 years.
You got the first one up there? All right. This is the title of this Annals of Internal Medicine article.
All right, let's hear this one.
We mentioned this last week, but it hit the news 3 days ago, right?
Yes.
All right. So you just read what that says. You can read that without your glasses, right there.
Annals of Internal Medicine. Unproceeded red meat, unprocessed red meat and processed meat consumption dietary guidelines recommendations from the Nutritional Recommendations Consortium. Right?
That's a lot of BS, isn't it, right? All right.
Anytime there's a consortium.
A consortium. All right, now here's the whole here's the whole article that is focused on this, right?
Okay.
All right, the next thing, you got the meat up there. This grill at the Falcon football game where they got their butt handed to them has unprocessed meat there. That's these hamburgers made out of ground. And it's got these big old bratzes and hot dogs. That's processed meat.
Right.
Now, we're going to separate those two in our mind, okay? So we're going to only talk about red meat, not bacon, not sausage, not just hamburger and beef and red meat from the grocery store that's not been processed. When you talk about any cigarette smoking causes lung cancer, penicillin cures strep throat, all that sort of stuff, people who are listening to this argument believe in their mind that there must be some experimental evidence that shows that this is true. Is that the way you would assume?
Right.
Show that next one, and we'll put it up just for a minute. This is the way that experimental studies are done, where you give one group of people the purple pill and you give the other people the drug. These people get penicillin, these people don't, that sort of thing. Okay, you got all that figured out over there, Chris? You got it up for people to see? All right, pull it down now. That is not what this study is about. You got that in your head? This is not an experiment where some people ate the red meat and some ate the chicken and fish. This study took many, many, many articles and clinical and scientific studies that covered 1.4 million people. Now that's a big number, 1.4 million people. And it measured the amount of evidence that a red meat diet contributed to prostate cancer, colon cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. And they determined that the amount of evidence was weak. Not that there was no evidence at all, but that the order of magnitude was not big. You got that? That this was weak evidence. Now, they then made a leap of faith. And that leap of faith is, why should you try to change an individual's lifestyle and desire and tell him if he was raised in Minnesota or he was raised out west and he used to eat 3 or 4 servings of beef a week, that he ought to stop eating the beef, when there really isn't any strong evidence that making that change is going to benefit him. Now that's the key point right there. One more time. Why should you try to change what somebody is doing if the magnitude of the evidence that making that change is going to benefit them is small? I'll take wearing a motorcycle helmet. I believe that you're safer wearing a motorcycle helmet, and that when they make a law to make a motorcycle helmet, wearing that thing is worth changing your behavior or the change in what you want to do. I believe that seat belts are safe, and that if they make a seatbelt law and you don't want to wear your darn seatbelt, that the benefit is so much in wearing it that they ought to force you to. So now, should people just beat you over the head and say, quit eating that steak, eat this piece of fish instead? The answer is absolutely no. The evidence is very thin. So if you've watched all the talking heads in the last 3 days or 2 days, they've said, well, up to 3 servings a week, don't overdo it. The idea that eating beef in modest amounts is going to hurt you is, there's no good evidence of it. But if you start eating a whole bunch of it and it makes you overweight, we know obesity is associated with all those cancers. It wasn't the beef that did it. It could have been the donuts and the French fries that did it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Do you like that, or you didn't like it?
Well, no, I'm okay with it.
All right,
I'm
all
okay.
right.
I was
So
okay with everything except for the hand gesture my way, but I'll get over it.
Okay, so everything about...
I'm used to that by now.
Okay, everything about this is that it is trying, and I'm not sure I really agree with it. When we give you that scientific study where penicillin cures strep throat and this other stuff doesn't, that is solid data that making this step is beneficial. When we tell you that eating beef is harmful, the evidence is so thin that the authoritative recommendation shouldn't browbeat you into believing it. I guess that's the end of that. That's enough.
All right,
so
Doctor,
go eat your steak, but don't eat 6 a week. Eat 3. How about that?
Oh, I like that.
And and eat it with a salad, not with French fries.
All right,
How about that?
now, all right, we'll talk about that later. Anyhow, wait a minute. At this time, we always give Dr. Whaley an opportunity to discuss anything current, new. We break a lot of news here in the medical world out there. What's going on, Dr. Whaley?
We were the first ones to break the vaping story months ago, but our new engineer, Chris, is an expert at this because he's been in the very heart of this medical news business when he was down at WebMD. This is the top 2 things that came in the news yesterday. What's the first one say?
Chemical burns may be vaping lung damage source.
What's the second one say?
Seaside Living sues.
No, third one.
Where? Oh, why, you said,
Oh, it's got...
well, you told me the second thing.
It's all right here. Okay.
It's the first thing or the second
All right,
thing?
no, the first thing. Okay,
right.
Chemical burns may be vaping lung damage source. The one below it said, and I cut it off. Sorry. The one below it said, no specific chemical yet identified, but CDC identifies a trend. Well, here's the CDC stuff right here. I want to talk about it. The first thing about what they've proven is 70% of this now 1,000 cases of people with lung disease have had THC in the product that they were vaping. Second, the autopsies done on the ones that died and the CAT scans on the ones...
Here come the steaks.
No, that's the beer.
No, you don't want to bet me on that one. The steaks, baby.
You're right. It's
Yeah.
the steaks.
All right.
Where'd the beer truck go?
Beer truck will be next.
All right. So, 70% contained THC. 50% contained nicotine. But almost all of them were what you would call secondary black market products,
Yes.
and did not come from the legit shop or from that company Juul. Now, I wanted you to have a chance to be the first to break it. Now, this is some of the brand names of the stuff that people have smoked, and I want you to just start reading them. I want you to tell me what kind of idiot would buy something in a daggum convenience store.
Hey, give me a vial of those moon rocks.
Yeah.
And give me a vial of cookies.
Yeah,
And,
no, and it can come in one of those things that looks like a flash drive. Now, these are the brands.
who buys Mario Kart?
Who buys TKO? Who buys California Confidential? Who buys
Now, the California Confidential, I see an underlying theme there.
Who buys Naked? Who buys Salt Nick? Who buys Views Alto? There's 70 of these cracky names. Now listen to this. They show that 90% of these are all coming from the same place. And the packaging that they've got, which is very crude, the packaging that they've got is the same, and all they do is just slap a different name on it. So it's like a Cadillac, an Oldsmobile, and a Pontiac had all the same stuff with different chrome, right? So
Well, I'm a little, when we start talking about stuff like, let's go with vaping, for me, on one side, I don't like government regulation. I don't like
You
that.
don't?
No, I do not. But on the other side, as a consumer, I do want to know that my food won't kill me.
they got to get this
I
stuff
do
off
want
the
to
line.
know,
Me too.
you know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
So this right here, if somebody is vaping, and I'm not going to take a position on vaping, all right?
I've already done
I
it.
believe adults do what they want to
Whoa,
do.
whoa.
I got a cheap cigar sitting at home waiting
I've
for me
already
now.
done it. I told you that
All right.
vaping, a legitimate nicotine product for an adult who has been smoking for years and cannot quit, is a much safer alternative than continuing to
Got
smoke.
it. So when
But
it comes
should
to
be
that-
bought from a legit place. It should be known nicotine, and it should not be coming from 7-Eleven and called THC.
Okay, when it comes to that, because you're 100% right, and I'll say it, I've got a cheap cigar waiting at home for me. When if an adult is...
What happened to the good ones I brought you?
Easy. We'll get that. You're slacking a little. But here's the point I want to make. But if an adult is sitting at home, I just think whatever they're putting into their vape pipe, whatever it is, will not result in a call to 911, an ambulance, and cardiac arrest.
But it will. Remember
okay.
the high school?
Yeah, but that's because they're just buying any of this.
You
see
mean
what I'm
if he?
saying?
Oh no.
Well, when they go buy the
If
product.
he goes to CVS
Right.
or he goes to the pharmacy and he buys it, or he
And there's
goes
a legitimate
to a
product
shop.
on the shelf.
If it's a Juul, it's a legitimate product. It's been tested by the company. I wouldn't buy any other brand.
Got it. We got to get out.
We gotta-
because
we gotta-
They're over there, and the more time we give them, the
Well, if we take time from them, I'm going to hear it tonight anyway.
yes, you are. Hey, this
Go
is
see the wall, guys.
Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley, brought to you by North Georgia Cancer Research, affiliated with Northside Hospital. We appreciate you so much. Don't forget, YouTube channel, Fetch Your News, FYN TV playlist, Ask the Doc. Share this segment with your friends. And if you have a question, info, INFO, at Fetch Your News, and put in the subject line, Ask the Doc. Thank you very much.
Wait a minute, I'm going to tell you, that question on red meat just came in yesterday, and the cancer question came in on Monday and is a follow-up to a prior program.
Absolutely.
So if you got some tweak and you want to bring it back up and learn a little more about it.
Well, if you
do
watch
that.
a segment and you have a follow-up on something that's in a family, that's great.
Yeah,
that's what we're
right.
here to do.
That's what we're here to do.
Okay, it is now time for the All-Star Political Panel. And yes, waiting in the wings, I should have the drum roll of the big music. Jane is back with us, Rick and Bruce, and we'll be back right after these messages.